Hello and welcome to another edition of Overland Fam. In today's video, we're going to discuss the dynamics of the actual journey, how long we're going to be stopping in every country, and the things that are going to dictate the amount of time that we are going to be stopping in each country. So many people would, of course, make the assumption that Africa is just one huge monolithic piece of land and that circumnavigating it will be one world, but you don't. You get multiple worlds, different types of elevations, vegetation, weather, inclement weather, hot weather. You get everything on the African continent, even snow. Yeah, believe it or not. So we are going to need to be equipped to handle everything. We also know that every country has its own flavor. If you start at the top, we're going to be starting at the top. We're going to be working our way down. So start at the top, we're going to get the more hot temperatures, the more Mediterranean temperatures, right? So we're going to start in more arid conditions. However, this isn't going to be a problem when it comes to camping. In fact, when it comes to Morocco, it's unlikely we're going to be camping there a lot. Why? And also, it's unlikely that we're going to be there for a prolonged period of time. One of the reasons is because, I don't know, many people don't see Morocco as Africa. You know, it's not really Africa, and I'm talking about the adventure that is Africa. When people talk about Africa, they talk about sub-Saharan Africa, right? When they talk about real Africa, they talk about sub-Saharan Africa. I'm doing the quotation marks because I don't believe there is such a thing as sub-Saharan Africa. It's just Africa for me. But yeah, for context, I'll say sub-Saharan Africa. Morocco has really good infrastructure, great roads, long, straight, tarmacked, great hotels that are very cheap. It's a good stepping stone into Africa because, you know, you don't want to be dropped in the deep end, do you? So Morocco's a great start. It also has high-speed rail, believe it or not. Morocco has high-speed rail. So it's a functioning, well-planned, good infrastructure in that country. And I'm not saying that we want to leave it real quickly because it is that way. It's just that if the infrastructure helps us to get out of a particular country real quick, then why would we stay there for? Unless the country is filled to the brim with the things that we want to see. Morocco has a lot of rich cultural things to see. Okay, yeah, I know that, but that's really not the reason why we are going to Africa. We're going to Africa in reality to have the adventure of a lifetime. And you know, if I go to Morocco and I start spotting people who have just jumped off a Ryanair flight, you know, it's just not going to feel like real Africa. So we've got the Western Sahara. Now we stick to the western side of Western Sahara, okay? But we, of course, want to get through this quickly. It's not politically charged there, but there isn't much to see there, unfortunately. So this is another one of those countries. Mauritania is the same way. You know, we just want to get into the Senegal, the Gambia, places like this where it is safe. You got holiday makers, you got, you know, the infrastructure isn't brilliant though, but this is the place where we want to be. Now I'm going to start talking about West Africa in general because this giant glob of land that contains some 13 countries, it's going to be where the adventure starts and where we are going to really be able to explore places where we have never been before, see people we've never seen before, you know, and be able to talk to them and to communicate and sit down with them, have dinner with them, have drinks with them. It's going to be an incredible part of this journey, whole of West Africa. Infrastructure, one thing. Political tensions, you know, how stable a country is. If a country is not very stable, then we're just going to shoot through it. Of course, it's not going to be a country we're going to want to spend a lot of time in, like Equatorial Guinea. Beautiful country, but of course, I just think it's a tiny country as well. the only country in Africa that has a Spanish-speaking population. But it's not, it's not the place where we want to be spending tons of amounts of time in, but it will be interesting to go through there. Gabon, Cameroon, these countries are places that we really want to spend some time in, Nigeria as well. Lagos is a city where we will stay, but once again, it's a big country, but we don't plan on camping too much in West Africa anyway. We're going to limit our camping to only campsites, so no natural camping in these places. Unfortunately, it's just better to be safe than to be sorry. So we're going to camp in places where there is a set up infrastructure for us to place our car, open up our tent, have a shower and relax a bit, for a couple of days if we want to. But Lagos is one of those places that we want to spend time in. We want the city to absorb us. It's one of the largest cities in the world. It is something that I really want to feel, like Tokyo and, other large cities. You get Istanbul, another one. If you go to Istanbul, there's just the vibe there. And I think you're going to get that in Lagos. I have a feeling you're going to get that in Lagos. So I'm looking forward to going to Lagos and spending some time there. I don't know how long we're going to spend there, but if we can get ourselves a nice place, a decent place there, and spend a week, 2 weeks there, then we will do so and just really absorb the atmosphere and hopefully get to meet people and get a lot of video there as well. Let's go down to the DRC. Looking forward to that. Kinshasa. We're not going to spend a lot of time in Kinshasa, but it's definitely a place where we absolutely need to go, because the Congo is a great country. However, it's not easy to get into, apparently, and it can change. Some people have more joy than others getting into the DRC, depending on the passport. But we're definitely going to go Kinshasa. Once we're out of there and we start getting into Angola, this is where things start to change, because Angola is pretty much the last country. Once we hit Angola, that's halfway. Even though it's not halfway geographically, it is halfway in terms of time, because the West African region is probably the most toughest part of the world to drive through, because of all the borders and the bureaucratic nonsense that they get up to at the borders. It's not the nicest part. However, you have to understand how the borders work. That is another video for another day. Once we hit Angola, we hit the southern part of Angola, and we hit the upper Namib Desert, because the Namib Desert actually starts in Angola, right? So once we hit that, that's where everything changes. Infrastructure gets better, roads are more empty, we got plenty of just desert out in front of us for the next 1,000 kilometers. Good roads, just that, for me, that is everything. And also going down the Skeleton Coast. So I really plan to spend a lot of time in Namibia, and in perhaps not so much in South Africa, but northern South Africa possibly. So yeah, that's a place that we would also stop, 2, perhaps even 3 weeks in, depending on how much we like it. That's what overlanding is all about. We get to make the decision and go whenever we want to go. We get to South Africa, we get to Cape Town. I want to see Cape Town. Do I want to stay there for a long period of time? Perhaps not. Once again, we're getting into the territory where you're going to start meeting and greeting all those typical tourists, and overlanding is all about getting away from those typical tourists. Eastern seaboard of Africa has pretty decent infrastructure. You get to Kenya, I would say. I want to go to Mogadishu. I'll definitely go there if I am going myself. If I'm there by myself, then I'll go to Mogadishu and allow these guys to fly back from Mombasa, and then I can feel a little bit safer myself. I can really explore these regions myself, and perhaps, if possible, meet up with those guys again in Cairo. So I really do want to just get through you know, Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Sudan, into Egypt and do the Valley of the Kings. Meet these guys in Cairo and even drive back down, do the Valley of the Kings again, and then come back up again, and perhaps even. I mean, it would be even better actually. I don't. There is an airport at Aswan to meet these guys in Aswan, but I'd like these guys to be able to fly one way, you know, not have to worry about catching multiple flights. There's a direct flight from here to Vienna, from Vienna to Cairo, so they can fly directly to Cairo and I can meet them there, nice and easy. Then driving back over to Morocco again through the northern seaboard. That's not going to be easy. However, the infrastructure up there is great. It's just like being in Southern Europe. So getting to Morocco there. But I don't plan on staying in these countries for long. It'll be more about just getting there, moving on. If I'm by myself, I'm going to be driving 5, you know, perhaps even 6 hours a day. You know, whilst there is good sunlight around, that's what I will do. So, and then back to Morocco. So I know I didn't go into great detail, but that gives you a bit more of an idea of how we plan to do this, and how we are looking at the dynamics of the different elements that could and will affect how long we stay in certain parts of Africa, and whether it is feasible for us to go as a family or for me to go alone. It's all going to have an effect, and we're looking forward to it. It's all part of the journey, it's all part of the adventure, it's all part about thinking as a team and strategizing and using all of our resources in a way that benefits everybody else. So guys, that's it from me for today. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra a bit.